Ladies and gentlemen, 2024 McLaren 750S. I'll tell you how it drives today. Also going to be driving the C8 Z6 with the Z07 package, which is coming out in a future video, so subscribe if you want to see that. Now, the McLaren 750S. Goddamn, this thing looks like an alien spacecraft. I love it. Proper supercar. You can see the two exhaust pipes right there. You can see the rear mechanicals all exposed. Above that diffuser. Big wing that flows with the sweeping lines, but then when you start braking, it'll come up, which you'll see as I'm driving it. MSRP, $332,000. This one goes for about $350,000. A couple options would be the roll bar, which is titanium, as well as this blue paint, which is special upcharge. So the owner was telling me pretty low spec as far as 750Ss go. But what do you get for that money? Well, of course, carbon ceramic brakes standard. Pirelli P0 Corsa tires, 245 section width in the front, 305 in the rear, and that's 19 and 20 inch staggered. Apparently the lightest wheels ever offered on a McLaren. Coming up front, we have that very classic headlights with the intake below McLaren look. This thing just looks so wild, so out of this world. We're powered by a 4-liter twin-turbocharged V8 with a flat plane crank to give you that awesome sound. Pushing out 740 horsepower, 590 pound-feet of torque. That's also a flat plane crank, but again, that is in an upcoming video, subscribe for that. Engine is mated to a 7-speed DCT with shorter gearing than in the 720S. Also has more downforce than the 720S, and it's lighter too, about 66 pounds lighter. Both this and the 720S, of course, the carbon monocoque chassis, and that puts this just a little over 3,100 pounds. Getting in, proper supercar experience. Now, getting in, I like to kick my feet to get off any sand, because I don't want that getting in the owner's car, any dirt and such. But doing so kind of scrapes your arms here. And I wear a CGM, a continuous glucose monitor, which you can see all about on my other personal channel, where I talk about health and such. And it just got ripped off just getting in, which hasn't happened in a car before. Soft closed doors, gotta love that. She comes to life. What I really love about McLarens is that they actually have the gauge cluster attached to the steering wheel. So if you move this up, down, close, far, wherever, it follows suit. And if you've seen my other videos, a lot of times the tack, I like my steering wheel pretty low. That's an optimal position. And oftentimes the top of the tack gets cut off by the steering wheel. But here we don't have that issue. We have these carbon bucket seats, same as in the P1. This comes standard, and if you want the motorized adjustable seats, that's the upcharge. So actually the opposite of what Porsche does with their carbon buckets, which I think is pretty hilarious. We also have this 7-inch screen, which I think is hilarious. It comes with CarPlay, but not Android Auto, because they're like, hey, if you're buying a McLaren, you're probably rocking an iPhone, I guess. Well, let's see how she drives. 700 horsepower in a 3,100 pound car. And we got this front nose lift as well, which is super helpful when you're going off, just for daily driving comfort and practicality, right? Going on these rougher surfaces. We're starting off in comfort for the handling, suspension and such, and comfort for the powertrain as well, engine, transmission. Vehicle auto lowering because we had it up before. Now as we're going faster, it's going to lower. And first impressions, you know, in comfort mode, just driving it around, it's comfortable. Believe it or not, McLaren supercar is actually comfortable. But now we're gonna put it into sport. And we're gonna go from comfort to track here on the powertrain. Tack changes. Holy shit. Getting a lot of feedback through that wheel. Hydraulic steering, of course. I think it's just the McLarens and the Lotus Emira that offer hydraulic steering, brand new on the market today. Jesus. Red line of 8,500 RPM. What I found super impressive coming up here is actually the suspension, because now in track mode, it is so stiff, too stiff for this road. It has this linked hydraulic suspension that negates the need for a sway bar, and the level of difference between comfort to track is so stark. You can see how rough that was, right? All the motion, and now it's actually comfortable. It is insane the way this thing absorbs the bumps in comfort mode to how stiff it is in track mode. We're gonna ride in sport on this road, which is the mode that I think it's best suited for. Now let's give it a pull. Holy shit. All right, so I guess it will hold the gear for you if you touch the paddle, because then it'll automatically go into manual mode, it seems. Jesus. I can feel traction kicking in, which, you know what, I'm gonna leave. The paddles have this really nice actuation to them, and they're actually linked, so when you click this one in, you feel the other one go, and that means you can actually push here to downshift or pull to upshift. So yeah, I'll push here and I'll downshift, because these are actually a single piece that pivot, which is a nice touch. My God, how responsive this car is. The front end, of course, double wishbone all around. They're not cutting any corners with a car like this. Oh my God, so much grip. Jesus. Oh my God. What a monster, dude. I have never driven a car. Oh my God. This thing is insane, dude. So like, I love Porsche 911s as an example, right? Brilliant cars. But a 911 is fundamentally, what, $100,000, $120,000 base car, and then they tart it up and you drive the GT3 and it's so impressive. But McLaren here is starting with the 720S, which is already a multiple six-figure supercar, and then they're building from that, and the level of just engineering competence and rigor here is, it's hard to compare to anything else. The chassis is so fucking stiff. There's no flex to this thing at all. It's only the suspension that's traveling. Nothing else. The steering is laser sharp. And you got good feedback with the hydraulic rack. Great communication. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. The engine, if there is one critique I have, it's that the engine, it does have more lag than you would expect. Maybe that's to be expected because this thing is making over 700 horsepower. But even at the higher RPMs, like sure, you're gonna get lag at 3,000-4,000 RPM, but even when I was 5-6K, I was still getting lag in second gear, which I wouldn't really be expecting. But I mean, everything about this car, I've spoken about this kind of philosophical thing in previous videos about how a car can be an extension of the country's culture. So German cars tend to be very clinical and engineered with precision, but sometimes lacking feel. I think that you tend to get a lot more feel when you go to the higher end Porsches, like the GTs, but at the lower end Porsches, you don't have that same level of emotionality. Whereas you look at Japanese and British, and you see a lot more passion coming out. And here, you still have that really immaculate attention to detail and incredible engineering, and even just the fit and finish, really nice. Yet, at the same time, you feel a bit more passion in in British cars, I would say. And that comes out here, where it's not just a rocket, but the emotionality, the connectedness of driving it, whether that's my Lotus Emira, which obviously doesn't even compare to this car, right? But even at that cheaper price point, much less sophisticated engineering, less power, etc., you feel the emotionality, and you see that here at the top end of the British car market. You see that emotionality come through in the driving experience. You feel like you're in something special, and it pulls at your heartstrings. You feel like, oh my God, this car doesn't just impress you with its technical prowess, but it excites you too. Oh my God, so much feedback in the wheel. I love that. Brakes are just so natural. Wow. Seriously, some of the best steering I've ever felt in a car. The Lotus Elise might even have a little bit too much feedback and communication, where you get a bit of NVH and it's constantly chattering away. That car kind of beats you up. And this gives you, it's dialed back a little bit, and that you get all the feedback that you want, but it's not excessive, it's not noise. It's just signal. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant car. Good Lord. And we'll do one more pull. What an impressive vehicle. I mean, everything here is just top tier. The transmission, when you're pulling it lightning fast, I mean, it's as good as DCTs get. The suspension here, going from comfort to track, huge range, and in each mode, the damping quality, the way it absorbs the bumps, immaculate. The ride comfort. So like, maintaining a level of comfort while also maintaining body control with, you know, body roll and dive and squat and such, that is truly impressive. And what they've done here with this hydraulic suspension, nothing short of amazing. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. And with that mid-engine, that tight polar moment of inertia, it rotates so willingly. I mean, it also only weighs 3,100 pounds. What an incredible vehicle. I also love the brakes here, because unlike Porsche GT cars, which have this immediate firmness as soon as you give it any pedal travel, this one feels a little bit more linear. They're very different in brake feel, but they both feel great in their own way. This McLaren, I would say, is a little bit more linear with the brake pedal feel, and it feels very congruent with all the other inputs. The one thing that I wish was reduced was the level of turbo lag, and maybe when you're driving on track and you're more spooled up and you're pushing it harder, it probably doesn't make as much of a difference, but in the canyons, where you aren't gonna always be at the top of a gear, you do notice that lag a little bit more, and that gives you hesitation to push it, but even still, you're not gonna get to this car's limits. It's just, the car's capabilities are just so high that many people, such as myself, wouldn't feel comfortable getting the tail out on the canyon roads. I rate all the cars I drive on a spreadsheet called the Jabal and Cars Driving Index, linked below. You'll probably see this up towards the top, because what a special experience. Big thanks to Yue, the owner, for letting me review his McLaren 750S. Visit us on jabalandcars.com if you want your car reviewed. Big thanks to Fenton's son for making this review possible. Show him some love at Zygreen is his YouTube channel. Much love, my friends, and I'll see you all in that next one.